When I bought my condo in Chicago, it came with a tiny wooden balcony that overlooked power lines and trash cans in the alley. I created an Instagram page for this place, and I shared it with friends like it was an exciting new bistro that I called the Chicago Bell Garden. It had just 3 comments and 4 likes, but somehow I'd been identified as a vegan meat influencer. That fall, I received a surprise case of vegan cookies at my door, and then 5 pounds of kimchi. Have you ever seen 5 pounds of kimchi? It's a lot of pickled cabbage. They did it because they thought that I would unlock a vast customer network. But the Chicago Bell Garden isn't a bridge to anyone. I'm just a guy with a baby queue. Hello, and thanks for joining today. I'm broadcasting from the new and improved Chicago Bell Garden, and it's great to see so many old friends and colleagues tuning in to support the release of this TEDx talk. Drop a comment in the notes and let me know where you're tuning in from. It's great to see so many of my LexisNexis colleagues from 20 years ago, and some of you newer ones too. Sammy, hey, and Kristen, and others, thanks for joining. Okay, so today I'm announcing the official global release of my TEDx talk, and I wanted to spend a quick few minutes pulling back the curtain from my LinkedIn network. You're the commercial leaders, the builders, and maybe aspiring speakers who want to know what it actually takes to step onto that red dot. We just heard a quick clip of what my talk's about. We live in an era of absolute optimization, where we're told to automate everything and let algorithms dictate our networks, our outreach, and our commercial relationships. But my big idea is about how we reclaim or maintain our humanity in this age of the algorithm. When that doesn't happen, the bots go wild. And you can see I'm surrounded by some of the results I talked about at TEDx, all the steak rub and the industrial-sized quantities of kimchi. And I know that you have a lot of questions about how did I wind up on that red dot? Well, there's a whole cottage industry out there dedicated to telling you that they can buy or hack your way onto a TEDx stage, but you should save your money. The data says that organizers get between 300 and 500 applications for maybe 10 or 12 speaking slots. And all of those applications just involve a brief video clip and a longer written essay about your big idea and why it's so important. I want to shout out to Peter Pontius in the audience today. He was TEDx Normal's curator who personally reviewed hundreds of video applicants. And I've heard from speakers that said they applied to more than 70 events before they got an acceptance. I myself submitted about 12 applications before Peter's committee said yes. And what made the difference was really focusing in on the question that they ask, which is, what is the one big idea that people need to hear from you? A lot of people fall into the trap of thinking that I've got to convince them I'm a powerful speaker or a big executive, and I need to use this stage to promote my business or my book or launch into some major influencing career with this spot. But the TEDx community doesn't want commercial promotion. In fact, that's one of the fastest ways to get your application put on the no pile. And you can't donate your way or buy your way onto the red dot either. You'll get there by having a status quo shattering idea that makes people think when they leave you after you leave the stage. Give people something really important to think about. The commercial payoff, if there's ever going to be one, happens after your talk because the audience is so compelled by the idea you shared that they want to seek out your work on their own. So don't think your application is about pitching your business. Think about it as pitching your big idea. Now, once that acceptance has arrived, an intensive preparation and development process began. The TED community has a lot of guidelines about what you can and can't say from their red dot. There's no advertisements for anything. You have to be able to footnote every factual claim you make, and they have a strict time clock to stay within. Most TEDx conferences allow for talks of up to 18 minutes, but TEDx Normal was adamant that they wanted just 10 minutes for the talk that I was going to give. My first draft was 14 minutes long. I had to cut 33% of what I thought was already a really tight script, and I never thought that I'd get there. I actually used an AI tool to suggest cuts to me paragraph by paragraph, cutting my 20-second description of the Bell Garden to a single impactful phrase about views of power lines and trash cans in the alley. TEDx Normal also gave us a panel of speaker coaches to review drafts. They watched practice speeches and they offered suggestions. And I also spent some time with actor-director Rob Lindley, who wrote some great humorous asides for me, including the one about the 5 pounds of kimchi, to make sure that I was still making a human connection. And after 3 months of preparation, we were ready to go. Most people watch TEDx talks on YouTube, but they're an actual in-person event as well. Now, part of the secret magic that the audience knows is that we're trying to get a good, clean video. And so the audience has been warned that speakers might want to go back and redo sections if they lose their train of thought or something else goes wrong. My coach, Wendell Hayward, was sitting in the front row with a copy of my final script and checking each word as it came out of my mouth. But even with this safety net, I wanted to give the live audience a really great experience. I was the 8th speaker out of 9 in the day, and I noticed something weird was happening with the technology. At rehearsals, 5 of us had slides that went with our talks, and 2 of the earlier speakers were clearly struggling with the clicker. 2 more had made the last-minute decision to abandon their slides entirely. And so I asked the stage manager, what's really going on here? He explained to me that the clicker was just fine, and that the screen behind me would be definitely showing the right slides, but the confidence monitor that I'd see at the foot of the stage may or may not be displaying properly. Did I want to cut my slides, or did I want them to take a 15-minute break so that they could fix the tech before I began? Now, I knew it'd been a long day for this audience, and they'd heard a lot of content. I also knew that I had a video and some complex diagrams in my talk that I couldn't easily do without. But I knew this material. I'd been reciting it word for word each night as I went to sleep, including the moments when I would click that button. And so I decided to just keep the show going, walk out blind, and deliver the talk. And honestly, I think the talk went perfectly. But now it's online, and it's time for you to tell me what you think. I put a link to the YouTube video in the chat, and I would love for you to take 10 more minutes to head on over there and share your own thoughts and feedback in the comments. I've also put a link to the TED Talk on my website at jdmillerphd.com/TEDx. And to get rid of some of the steak rub, I've partnered with Spiceology for a giveaway. We're collecting your examples of AI failures at aisalesfail.com, and we'll be doing a drawing for some of the steak rub and a signed copy of my AI handbook for sales professionals to go to the best ones. Thanks to all of you for listening today, and thank you all for your support in this process. I'm looking forward to continuing the conversation with you in the chat on TEDx's YouTube channel, so let's head on over there right now. Have a great rest of your day.